tell you something. Oh, WWE, WWF, this is not your man Randy Savage, and I don't play no games. I'm the meanest man around, and ooh, I got Elizabeth on my team. She's the baddest. Come here, Elizabeth. Come here. Oh, shit, she don't want to come over here. Anyway, I'm the baddest thing walking. I want to give a shout out to my boys, my brothers, TTFT. That's the fucking trailer, and make sure you check it out. Hulk Hogan, you ain't shit. All you other motherfuckers ain't shit, and we're out of here. Mwah.
All right, this was not as funny as Connection, but I didn't find it as funny. There somehow Enemy of the State, Die Hard, and the Goonies, and a lot of other films from have something in common, and it's called the Rosa effect. Apparently, a lot of people find it funny for your maid to be called Rosa, not really speak English. Oh yeah, I said Die Hard. Like I just don't get me wrong. The '80s stereotypes were big, but I think now in 2021, hopefully we've moved past having a maid named Rosa and a slave named Buck, or whatever the fuck they're doing. I'm just throwing that out there.
There was an alternate version of the movie too. It's like they shot. I believe they shot other takes of that with a different actress.
Was she Rosie?
I think it played in another country, and they shot alternate scenes for that where she wasn't Spanish, she was French or Russian or something like that. And they dubbed in Corey Feldman's translations to a different language.
Oh, I'll get back to that later.
So apparently different countries have different stereotypes for who your house servants
Don't even get me started on the dialogue from fucking from Corey Feldman's character mouth as how he was talking to her in the beginning. I did not remember any of that shit when we were children.
I'll just say that's one of my bigger boats. Okay. Always separate the drugs.
Is that right? Jesus Christ. Camera right, studio left. Who had a show stolen by the name of from Fox by the name of Handy Quack. Another guy that I did a film with named Then There Was You had a show called Underground that he shot and won a student Emmy from. He went to Florida State Film School. He went to a bunch of film festivals and won a lot of student Emmys. Yet it never resulted in any picture being made. What do you have it 4 or 5 years later? Fox has this show called Underground and it wins a lot of stuff. Go figure. So here's the thing. If they like your movie, they'll pay for it. If they really like it, they'll steal it. Hey, sorry. World's ending anyway. Fuck it. The truth's out. Anything else, Dave?
No.
Those are facts, big boy. Akil, that one's for you, brother. That really happened. You did a cartoon. He did a fucking series and won an award for it.
And who stole it? I missed the first
Fox.
part.
It's called Underground. Akil DuPont. I have the DVD down there. The original DVD that's never been... I've never watched it. But I know for a fact he talked to me about it so much, and so many people told me, like, dude, he's winning an award. I went online and verified this. He won a student Emmy for Underground. He shopped it, talked to some people at Fox. They didn't accept that deal. They just went back and made a deal for themselves. Nobody owns slaves, especially the black man writing about a slave as an African American after his people have been raped and pillaged and stolen. What's one more theft, right? Listen, we're stealing. We're not killing people. That's too much wokeism. Kids on Anchor, we're going to tell you one thing that will save you $50,000 in film school. It doesn't matter what fucking camera you have. If your lighting's crap, your camera's crap.
Yeah, because you could, actually, we'll take this off, Anchor. You can see right here, this is a Panasonic old HD camera. That is a Canon 60 right there, and that's the former, right before the Canon 60, the Canon 70D. And
no, you're missing one. And this is a Samsung that's fucking broke, but we're gonna go ahead and fucking record it anyway. We're out here, we're living. Samsung fucked up. Here we go. Hey, flip it.
Oh yeah, you'll have to send this to me.
I'm trying. I can't even fucking flip it. The fuck is going on, bitch? You whore. We're so money right now. There we go. Let's try it again. There we go. There we go. Oh man, there you go. Hey.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do that, then
what are you doing? I look like fucking a rerun.
Over on this side.
Why did my hair? Oh, I am media.
Hey you.
Hey.
All right.
Oh shit! Damn, I look good in your camera. I look way better in your fucking camera.
Google Pixel.
Fuck you. Try to combine these. All right.
What the fuck are we doing? Still doing it.
There we go. That's it. I'll send that to you. All right, guys. That brings us to our next segment
How
here.
would you not say Inferno?
Well, I'm still stuck on Nina Pinta and Santa Maria. Yeah, Columbus Day. Go figure. And with that being said, guys, that brings us to our perfectly brings us to our next segment, which is sponsored by Benford Tools. And Mr. Wilson. Yes, that's right, guys, here. Yes, this is room for improvement. With that being said, guys, this is the segment where you and us discuss how we would improve the film if we could. And you have to be very careful, Durden, when you're talking about, I can't see your face, so you're Wilson. Hey, you, that's what we did there. I like what you did there. And speaking of another reference, the 80s was a time for coke. And if you didn't know it, Mr. Tim Two-Man Taylor got arrested for all right, never mind.
Doing the fine job of bringing medicine into this country.
Like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. And you know what? He turned it around. He turned it into a successful TV show. So kids, there's your message. Just don't give up. And with that being said, because he did have room for improvement. He turned a cocaine bust into a TV show and another TV show and a stand-up career. So needless to say.
I could just imagine back when he was running, though. Like, I wonder if he still went by the same name. Like, people were like, hey, the Tool Man's got you covered, baby.
No, I think he went by, how does this coke make you feel?
Are you digging our sloth wardrobe over here?
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Feeling very slothy.
Very good.
This stuff isn't easy to find on Amazon in like the last few days, but we found it.
I'll bet.
Yes, sir. By the way, we haven't said so. We definitely appreciate you taking the time out to join us. It's always good to talk to someone from the industry who's done such classes against you. So we're definitely not worthy. So we want to say thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem. No problem.
You guys were friends with Dave McGifford, I understand.
We still are friends with Dave McGifford. He's an interesting soul, and just like us, I think all interesting souls around the world need to connect. We're little pieces of the puzzle of the world. So yes.
That's great. Yeah, I went to high school with him.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the school mascot?
Yeah, Huskies, North Hollywood Huskies.
There we go. All right. North Hollywood Huskies. All right. Did we know that, David? Did we know he went to school with David McGifford?
No, I knew that they knew each other.
But now we know why.
Yeah.
Hollywood Huskies. Wow. Okay.
North Hollywood.
North. He said, don't forget the North. North Hollywood Huskies. We'll make sure we get that in there. Also,
right.
Man. That is great. That is great.
Yeah. Beyond that, was there any questions before we launched into it?
No, I just reread your questions. They're great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hope I can answer them.
The questions can only be as great as the person we are interviewing. So thank you for living such an interesting life and an impressive resume.
To say the least.
Yeah, I was very lucky. Believe me.
Today, when this episode airs, it is going to be what, June 4th when this episode airs, or June 3rd? What's
It'll be June.
Thursday?
It'll be June 4th because I leave the next day because my daughter is graduating high school and we're taking her to Cancun.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
And he missed. He was willing to miss and almost missed his daughter's graduation dinner banquet at her school for the last episode that we did because we made a commitment. So
they don't make parents like me anymore.
Going back to the support thing, we're giving it literally our all. He's missing fundamental moments with his daughter at the end of her schooling, and I'm editing through the foundational moments of my 5-year-old daughter's life to bring this show to you. So we understand if you don't have the dimes in your pocket to support us monetarily, but you could share, you could subscribe, you could tell your friends. And
you can leave your TV on YouTube all night and let us just run. We'll take those hours too. The Dick himself, Richard Donner, the director, he's the director of the film. And if you notice at the beginning of the film, it says, if I'm not mistaken, Steven Spielberg presents at the beginning of the film when the credits come on. It does.
He was a hands-on producer.
Well, that's funny because there's a picture of him doing this with his hands off. So I'm trying to figure out which one is that.
You always have your hands off for the photo.
You never want
to get caught.
Well, there we go. Lord of Connection still goes here. Okay. Oh yeah. Curl. Earl the Curl has a connection to this film. If you've ever seen WAPA, Earl the Curl drives a little bike, and apparently it's the same bike he got from Bran when his tires were let out, and Bran gets on that little ass bike, and he almost, gets charged. His friend gets charged with attempted murder. Okay, also, yeah, the bike Brolin scene versus the Earl the Curl scene, like Curl. Everybody wants to be a director and a writer when they see a movie, and this is one thing that made me. The difference between people who make movies and people who watch movies and like movies is when we say we could have done, when I sit down and when he sits down and watches a movie and say we could have done it better, or not necessarily done it better, this is what we would have changed. We actually go and make a movie. And we don't talk about making a movie. We don't write about making a movie. We make a movie. Have you seen it? Well, just like in on social media, in the real world, there's an algorithm. So we don't kiss ass and we don't take it up there either. But hey, if you do, that's fine. But it shouldn't be the reason why we don't make it in life. I don't care who you're with. Be happy. And with that being said, I want you to hear us out. Edit that last part. Unless you're watching, was it 3 o'clock high?
What is that? 3 o'clock high?
When the guy beat up the bully with the fucking the brass knuckles. He tried to jump the gate around 12:15. The school security guard came and pulled him off. And I'm talking about one of those big coked up cocaine steroid bullies from the 80s. And he had to fight him.
Is 3 o'clock high a movie?
Hell yeah. It's either 3 o'clock or 12 o'clock. All I know is he beat that bully's ass with those brass knuckles. I want some.
I'll have to Google that. I have to look that up.
No problem.
I'm definitely going to have to now because you mentioned it. Yeah,
Hey,
I put the overlay. He was in Trojan Wars. Have you ever seen that?
I have not seen that. No. But I feel like I should now.
I feel like most people have the same answer to have you seen Trojan Wars, and that is no good. Go watch Trojan Wars. It's a really funny.
And it's not a porn, I promise.
Nope, it's about a dude trying to have sex. He never gets to.
Data.
Hold on now, because Martha. I don't have a casting call, but I will say, if you're a fan of Martha Plimpton, she did not go away after the Goonies. Watch Raising Hope. It is no longer on the air anymore, but
You killed it?
Yeah, it's a great show.
I'll check it out tonight. After 6 hours from now? See what I did there?
Yes.
Oh, right. I'm trying. You said nobody could be scarier than her.
She was even scary in Throw Mama from the Train when she was supposed to be the victim. I mean, she was supposed to be a bitch that you wanted to throw off a train, but she's just naturally scary.
And it's making me think that if you guys are going to counsel Robert Downey Jr. for Tropic Thunder for alleged blackface, which it really was art, you need to counsel Goonies, because with the young lady he just brought up, the actress, if you don't remember in the movie, when the kids first see her in that bar scene, they're like, hey, excuse me, sir, I mean, ma'am. And then 5 seconds later, Sean Astin says, could you show me where the men's room is? I mean, like she's supposed to know where the fucking men's room's at. Like, they were LGBTQRSTUV. Every letter got violated in Goonies. Mm-hmm. Then there we go.
I'm just saving this real quick.
What, our careers?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. What he does not have is the spirit of the Matrix, because Joe Pantoliano asked in the Matrix, he said, I want you to reinsert my body into the Matrix. I want you to make me somebody important, like an actor.
Now, I noticed that Pantoliano, I don't think he's going to be back in the Matrix 4, which we'll be covering in Season 3, Matrix 1, 2, 3,
He's
and 4.
back in the Matrix as an actor.
I noticed that he hasn't been in it since the first one. What happened to
The fuck you mean what happened to him? He got killed in the first one.
So much happened in the Matrix.
Well, what you call it? I'm Tank. I'll be your operator. He killed him. He was like, take that, you piece of puta. The only Spanish spoke in 3 Matrix, soon to be 4, 2 lines of Spanish. Cinco de Mayo, people.
Yeah.
Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a terrible actor.
What the fuck are you talking about? He killed that role.
It sounded like, I know that was his actual voice.
It was.
But it sounds so weird. It sounds like it's affected in some way, or like there's something wrong with the boom mic. I know that he had some kind of birth situation that he could not, and I'm sounding really...
He was awesome. He was born awesome.
Yeah, real big guy.
He's the reason why Toga parties still live, man. If I can say this, give me 1 second here. I want to make sure our Patreon is not clicking here, which is a lie, but okay, you know when I'm lying. All right, so with that being said, all right, hold on 1 second. This is for the film.
Yeah, like the popcorns for the show.
You know it. And with that being said, to me, if we had to say this, I don't think we're being biased, because I'll say this. If movie magic belonged to one decade, it's the 80s. And let's keep it there. I think that's the best way to freaking say it. And make sure you bring that for season 3. You've been playing with that USB flash
No,
drive
I need
for
a
3
fidget
seasons.
spinner for season 3.
I'm not getting you one. I'll get you something else. I like that you. What the fucking what the fuck is this? This is yours.
Yeah, I bring things to fidget with because I'm tired of dropping. I've dropped the wedding band on the floor.
Okay, all right. And I love the fact that we didn't find out that because my friend kept asking, Ronnie kept asking me today. He was like, if you guys don't know Ronnie, I'm pretty sure he'll be on season 3. They kept asking me. He kept asking me like, what did they do? And I'm like, you know what? I said, all I know was that's what the 80s did a good job with was like, if the writing was like, guys, well, if we say that they're one type of criminal, then we have to stick to that plot. All you knew that they were bad guys. That's the nostalgia of the 80s. They're bad. Yes, we found out they were counterfeiting later, but they were clearly murderers. But they're murderers, but they like kids. Like, they're not like cutthroat, literally, because she could have cut Mouse's throat and tongue because they were serving tongue. Go.
Yeah, like their big like way of getting back at the kids after everything is I'm gonna throw you off essentially a high dive into
some water.
Like, don't threaten me with
Well, in
water
fairness,
park fun.
Well, in fairness, it makes much more sense if there was an octopus down there before. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, okay.
Boom. There you go. He was almost sloth. Don't you remember they almost put his hand in that blender?
That's what was so great about them is that they were weirdly like
connected,
like mirrors of each other in this
kind of like Beauty
way.
and the Beast,
kind of like Tommy Lee Jones and Ed Tom Bell and Sheriff Ed Tom Bell
and I got you. No, Sam Gerard.
Sugar.
No, Sam Gerard.
You're going fugitive,
right? Because you said 2 Tommy Lee Jones things, and then you went Sugar.
I'm saying that Chunk and Sloth are
they're like Sugar. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, yes,
the yin and yang.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you 100%.
With them living with him, the novelization of the film actually confirms that Chunk's parents,
for my people, like they're paraphrasing.
Chunk's parents actually did adopt Sloth when the story continues in the novel form, and they even threw him a bar mitzvah.
And you're in treat today. Mr. Royal has a 60-second bonus segment that you've never heard of. It's called Let's Do the Data. Durden, would you believe it that in the world we live in, the 80s was as I call it, the movie magic decade, but it was also the decade of stereotypes. Let's dive into Do the Data. In a time that we live in, let's do some real data/data. Data, a Japanese kid, uses his brain/trick/skill to undermine murderers, bank robbers, and thieves. And you know what? That's a very great plot. But when you give it to an Oriental/Japanese/Chinese/actor that is not American, that is not anything other than pure Caucasian mountain blood. And again, I'm not knocking that because me and you are cool. So clearly listen, if Martin Luther King and Malcolm X had a dream, this would be it. I can't speak for Malcolm or Martin, but this would be it. But with that being said, Data did everything that fucking Macaulay Culkin did in Home Alone. Yet, Home Alone just seems to just thrive and thrive and thrive. But when old little Data did it, he couldn't do it by himself. He had to have Mikey out there leading the way. And Josh Brolin and everybody else leading the way.
They both were experts at booty traps.
Right. Booty trap. That's what I said. That's what I said.
Let me play devil's advocate for
you want to be Keanu Reeves?
I want to be Al Pacino.
Dog Day Afternoon. Go for
it. Macaulay Culkin and Kiwi Kwan.
Yes. Very good.
To put them against each other
is unfair to who?
Kiwi.
No, it's unfair to Macaulay.
Okay, you're telling me right now if they were in a film together, you would give Kiwi the Scene Stealer Award over Macaulay Culkin?
What I'm telling you is if he had been given, I can't give you that answer because he wasn't given that opportunity.
Okay.
But I will also tell you this, if they were both put against each other, I would still answer fairly. It's unfair that I got Uncle Buck, I got Home Alone, I got Home Alone 2, I got the Good Son, I got everything. I got him fucking Mila Kunis, who I wanted to have coitus with.
Monster. Yeah, I mean, he's still cranking out hits.
Right, and then that band he had, which was not a hit, the Upside Down Pizza, some shit like that. Like, yeah, I do deep dives too.
He's just cool.
No, he is cool. He fucked Mila Kunis. He is cool.
And I think he was. Yeah, my what I was originally going to say is that I think he was a better actor even as a kid, but I do agree with that's like a perfect point that he was
Yes.
given more to work with,
Right.
obviously because of the times than
And
Kiwi.
again,
Who was the kid in Indiana Jones? The
that's
driver.
the same guy.
Is that the same kid?
No, but it's funny you bring up Indiana Jones because Kiwi Kwan also plays in Indiana Jones.
That's what I'm saying. Was he the driver? Was he the
Indy. That is
Okay, all right. So I take back what I was going to even say before you proved me wrong about him not having enough to work with. I would put him on par with Macaulay Culkin at
the only
least.
difference is the opportunity. And like, put it this way, you know how people are like, man, bro, your American actors in Asia would kill. Well, I would like to think that our Asian actors in America would kill. If you even think about this, Paul Mooney says his best rest his soul. You're gonna tell me the fucking Last Samurai was fucking Tom Cruise? Yeah, Mission Impossible, I believe, not The Last Samurai. And even with Keanu Reeves in 88 Ronin, the guy that played the backup to him is a legendary actor from Asia. He played in the new Mortal Kombat, which fucking sucked because I saw the original one. It goes Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 3, Mortal Kombat 2. I'm sorry, fuck that. It was that bad.
Kiwi Kwan, I was double checking that before we moved on. Usually I'll wait till post production to double check things, but I wanted to be 100%
He's in
sure
there.
that
That's him. That's him. Because you know what
the
that
kid from
says? It's like,
Indiana Jones.
what year did Indiana Jones come out?
Actually, the first one he was in '84, so right before the Goonies.
So guess what they said? Who's that Asian kid that was quirky that we can find? Oh, the same way.
Oh, they didn't have to find him. That's all Steven Spielberg.
Then there you go.
Yeah, he had his number probably. Let's not get into the
truth.
Hashtag save the children.
STC.
And he's also in the 1989 Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
So with that being said,
He was also in Encino Man with Sean Astin.
now that I did not know.
I didn't know that either. Apparently, they don't have a scene together. They're never
Go figure.
Yeah,
Go figure.
but
don't correct me if I'm wrong. Was that not? It wasn't Sean Austin. It was Brian Austin Green that was in Fifth Element, right?
Brian Austin.
The beginning of Fifth Element before they come back. Before the future happens, it's the past. Brian Austin Green is one of the person watching.
Brian Austin Green from 90210.
That is him. Yep, I'm right. Thank you. I just had to see the face. Yep.
Okay.
All right. All right. So guys, that was your bonus segment of the season called "Do the Data." Shout out to Kiwi Kwan. Kiwi Kwan.
Yeah, and I think you were talking about Luke Perry.
Fuck. Still 90210.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're in the same neighborhood.
Just the wrong zip code. All right, let's do it, brother.
All right. Yeah, you're gonna need a bigger boat. We're right into that. That's all going in the bonus episode. Just FYI. Mouth has his hand through the.
Oh man, no, it's a fucking tongue, motherfucker. That's the shit I'm fucking.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual innuendo.
Bro, we're fucking 15 minutes in the movie and somebody's tongue is through somebody's ass.
I'm not elaborating on what you're saying now because all that is self-contained in my room for improvement.
Okay.
But so he has his tongue through the painting
ass.
And mouth just he has 3 of my 5 quotes. The last 3 are all mouth.
In fairness to Corey Feldman, I don't think that it was him. I think it was what was written for him, and he just was doing it so well. I don't think that's truly who he is because I can't judge him.
Oh no. This is like, I think every character that Corey Feldman has ever played has catered to his strengths.
Even Lost Boys?
He's always the same dude. He's always the class clown that is the one that's going to get in trouble, the smart ass, smart mouth, doesn't know when to shut up, kind of cool. Like, I always wanted to be Corey Feldman when I was growing up, watching him in the different movies. License to Drive with Corey Haim.
I love License to Drive, bro.
He was the badass.
They didn't have a license to fly, did they?
I mean,
because we'll talk about that later in our bonus episode. But what happened to his? I feel like it's something that would happen to me or you if we were younger and.
You're talking about what happened with Corey Haim and Charlie Sheen?
I'm just talking about Corey Haim. I didn't want to bring up another name.
Okay.
Then we'll
hey,
get that later.
Well, watch Corey Feldman's documentary. It is crazy.
And also looks like Skrillex. Go ahead. No, that's Corey Feldman. Looks like Skrillex.
Ascension. A side note, I know how we need to end the episode. It's gonna take a quick YouTube search for you, but it will be worth it.
I'll take it. I'll trust you. Go ahead.
I am here to profess that I am one of few fans of Corey Feldman's music, like a real fan of his music now, not like laugh
He's not
at
better
it
than
because
Skrillex.
it's so bad. Oh no, it's terrible. But that's one of the things that I
Who's
love
better,
about
him or
it.
Macaulay Culkin? Who's more terribly better?
Corey Feldman for sure. Corey Feldman turns up the cringe. So
Corey, if you want to come over season 3 at this point, bro, listen.
No, I love Corey Feldman.
No, I
because
didn't say I do
he's-
it too. Yeah.
I mean, he's authentically terrible, at least, which is more than I could say for most people in Hollywood. He at least like you're getting the real deal with
What's
him.
fucking with me though is before that and after that, I haven't heard any French or Spanish or African, Wakandan or English or British film where any character's been named Mouth. Only in America
Well,
can we give a kid a name Mouth.
before you call it a night tonight, after you boomerang,
I
check
won't be
out
boomeranging.
just
I'm
just YouTube Corey Feldman Ascension Today Show performance, and thank
from
me
there.
later.
I
Yeah,
will thank you
yeah.
later after you watch ATO.
And I say
Atlanta.
that saying that I am a legitimate fan of his music.
Corey.
Angela can attest to it. I don't listen to it ironically. I have it on CDs and I listen to it.
Well, I've heard stuff you have on CD before, such as Kanye West, and she doesn't appeal to that.
I think that's part of the reasons why these things.
Corey, season 3, you're invited. You know what, Durden? Somebody less than 24 hours ago said our show was political, and they also said it was wokeism. And when someone says that, they clearly have not vetted our show, because here we have an atheist and a former Christian. I'm more spiritual now than I am Christian, but I will tell you this, is that you're more spiritual than you are atheist. We both have come a long way. And with that being said, for anyone to look at our show for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, 90 seconds, say they can judge it, listen, we do keep it about the movies. However, if we're reviewing American History X, if we're reviewing Rosewood, if we're reviewing New Jack City, if we're reviewing the movie that didn't even get named at the Oscars and got named after another movie, Moonlight. Like if we're doing these things, we said when we did the show, the one thing we're gonna do our show.
Yeah.
And so when someone comes along and says that we're leaning left or right, listen, guys, we're not left wing or right wing, but we will fly.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna stop us. And we
don't go looking for stuff,
We
but
don't.
we also don't have blinders on either.
have they
when
met the
something is
Lebertons?
apparent.
Have they met the Lebertons? Our podcast is more successful than theirs.
You did. I thought Motown is Philly.
No, it's
And
Detroit.
what the fuck is Boyz II Men talking about?
Motown Philly back again.
No.
With a little East Coast vibe.
So are they saying like Motown, Philly?
Motown Philly back, like Motown and Philly.
Oh, okay.
Motown.
Man,
Motown.
they steered me wrong for a long time because I just saw like
If they
Motown,
steered you
Philly.
wrong and you're Everett K. Ross, imagine what happened to your contemporaries or less thereof. Jesus Christ.
No.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. That's for you, David's mom. You know what I think happened there? I think that was a Mr. Royal moment. If I was Corey Feldman at that life, I'm sorry, Corey, yeah, I said it right. If I was Corey Feldman at that life, at that point in life, like you've had me read, which is I can't say what he's gonna be, but you've had me read English, or like English, which I speak, Spanish, and Italian, and and again, still, here's the thing about it. Here's the crazy part about it. Like the myth of Corey Feldman is way bigger than the actor of him, because I went back and watched that movie for our rewatch, and I was like, I remembered him being way bigger than this. And I'm not saying that he didn't do his thing, but it's almost like they marginalized him. Like he could have been so much more, which we'll talk about later. But go ahead.
Yeah. If you, I think people just remember the whole encapsulation of Corey Feldman in the 80s, and that's what contributes to every character.
You
he
can't do
was
the
feeling.
80s time capsule without Corey Feldman and Cobra Kai.
No. First of all, what does ice cream smell like even? And it's also just, it's hilarious to me that he goes from being so passionate about,
How dare you?
about needing to distance himself from them.
How dare you?
What, you can smell ice cream?
I went to fat camp. I pigged out and I got kicked out. Any movie I've seen in my entire fucking life where a kid went to fat camp, they all made it. Any movie I've ever seen in my entire fucking life, if a kid went to fat camp, they were ashamed that they made it. Even in Four Christmases, when the guy that stole the movie from our director from Coffee Town, say his name. Don't say
Brad Copeland.
Thank you. Don't say the other guy that stole this bit, but that guy's in a movie called Four Christmases, and he says, "Wait a minute, Kate went to fat camp," And she was like, "Oh, it was just something I just got to go over." Like, Caitlin.
Oh, you're talking about Mister. I'm Vince Vaughn, and your script is gone.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know the truth. The only truth I know is that the worst movie Vince Vaughn's ever done was Jurassic Park 2, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
But
The reason why I give credit for this is that this is like, listen, life has these little sweet moments. I'm a kid of the 80s. And before I was able to get an erection, before I even thought about sex or USC Up All Night and Gilbert Godfrey, who eventually went on to play the Duck and Affleck before he got fired, and they should really hire me. But when any of those things happened, Chunk says the line that Michael Jackson didn't come to my house, but his sister Janet did. And to me, that almost was one of my connections because guess what? I didn't go to the Super Bowl, but it did come to me. And I was 20 years old at UNF campus, University of North Florida, with my friends Jason Washington, Sion Green, and another associate of mine, and we watched it. And I've never seen three marijuana influenced Budweiser / alcohol influenced college teenagers, and when I mean a college teenagers, meaning that two of us didn't go there, but our friend did, so we might as well have been there. See a nipple pop out, not just any nipple, just as Terry Crews says in Norbert, we're gonna open it's gonna be called Nippolopolis. We were sitting there and we were smoking, which was quit to Reggie, and we saw a nipple pop out. And you know how they say the phrase a pin, you could have heard a pin drop? You could have heard a librarian scream.
am I hearing this correctly that you were there?
No,
Oh,
but
you're talking about seeing it on television.
But my whole point is, like that's my whole point is that neither was Chunk there when he said like Michael Jackson didn't come to my house, but his sister did. To me, that's what he was saying. Chunk somehow was there when that happened.
Goonies never say die. Mikey.
You know why? There was Jonah in the Well. There was the reference that you never thought we'd make on this show ever, Gizmo Duck. There was The Land Before Time, and don't get me wrong, what's the flying dog? I love it. What always messes it up.
Never Ending Story.
Never Ending Story. And then there was Goonies Never Die. To me, again, one of the movies that didn't come out in the 80s that had an 80s feel. The last movie one of the movies that came out in the 90s that I think had an 80s feel, there might have been 2 or 3. Help me out with this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know one is a fact. When the Mighty Ducks came out, it had an 80s feel.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go back and think about movies that had an 80s feel that might have been in the 90s, we're talking about Bloodsport, we're talking about Kickboxer, we're talking about Universal Soldier, we're talking about Beverly Hills Cop. Like, you have to understand, like, we are kids. So when we tell you, like, we don't hate CGI, but again, the world of practical art has been lost.
Mm-hmm.
And people, not only has it been lost, the people have died who did it. And now that you don't have to do it, we can just fix it in post. Fixing in post is the replacement of practical art. And I don't want to fix it in post. Me and you are very proponents of, if we get it right in camera, then what we do in post should just be an addition. It shouldn't be this is a part of the process. And kids, that's what we're trying to tell you. Fuck getting a $20,000 camera. You get you a decent camera that costs anywhere between $350 used and $1,000 used. Get your lighting correct. Newer, thank you so much. You're not an official sponsor. You will be next season, but you've sponsored so much of what we do. Newer, Canon, Sony, guys. And YouTube University. It's because of you that we know that we do. So, kids, we're here to tell you this. I don't care how many subscribers we get. I do hope this show gets monetized or somebody picks it up. But if we can change one film student's world to where one day before me and him die, we see a movie and we say it gets our credibility,
Mm-hmm.
then it's worth it. And that's my number one.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I'm not against CGI, but I'm against the fact that filmmakers today seem to lack the patience that filmmakers in the 80s had to really take the time to create a moment. Like, they don't want to spend more than the moment lasts on creating it, and that shows in the production.
But it's like me and you talk about, we don't want to do After Effects, but we understand After Effects. It's like I told you, listen, I was naive to think that, here's the thing, I thought I loved film when I wanted to be an actor. But that means I only used to love acting. And then I realized, no, I love film. And if I truly love film, I don't need to know everything about it, but I need to know something about every aspect of it. Mm-hmm. From the gaffer to the key grip, to the best boy, to the we need to know these things.
Yeah.
So there's your TTFT school, guys. They go out their way to separate him from the group so freaking much. And I know that because of the fact that we watch this stuff. So, dude, me and you have watched so many films, and we don't. I love that we don't agree, and we come from two different backgrounds, and that we can still appreciate the culture that is art, but that is film. But watching him, man, I have to tell you, I almost think it's a tragedy we didn't get to see more of him. And to me, I really feel like not only does he deserve to be on this board, but even if he doesn't win this season, he's going to be my honorable mention even after season 3 for what he did. To me, this is a child performance that represented the 80s.
Yeah, not like comical emotion, but like real emotion.
He was the one person, even Brand with our guy Josh Brolin. He was the one. Chunk was the one person. Mr. Cohen was the one person that all the other kids, when they were talking to adults, were treated as kids. When he called that police station, he was like, Lawrence, is this you? He called him. How many other times did they call him Lawrence in the film?
I can't keep track, but I think that's the only time, right? Now,
That's
I
crazy.
asked people to close their eyes for Bill Burr and Joe Pantoliano. I won't ask you to close your eyes again, but just take a moment to appreciate.
And if I'm not mistaken, you said earlier in the episode it was their banter that landed in the role, correct?
That was Joe Pantoliano and Robert Davey who they landed
Okay,
the
I'm
role
sorry,
of the
okay.
Fratelli brothers.
Okay.
But Jeff Cohen, to me as Chunk, his like that crackly emotional voice where he always sounds like he's on the verge of a breakdown no matter what he's saying or what the emotion is. He always sounds like he reminds me of what a young John Travolta would sound like. It's Sandy. He's Sandy.
I say a young John Candy.
I feel like you're just stuck on the weight part of it.
Well, isn't that a part of it? I mean, it's
I
not.
mean,
But
I guess the girth of the neck will weigh into.
I can't. But you would say that, but I can't say Louis Anderson. And Louis Anderson pacing isn't as fast as his. If anything, I take that back. Rest in peace. Saturday Night Live alum. Belushi.
I say John Travolta because they have that same. They both have the same. Where it sounds like they're about to start crying, even when they're not sad. Their voice always sounds like it's like on the verge of cracking, like they're getting too emotional about what's coming out of their mouth.
When we started this show, this was not a part of our segments. We decided to do this show because we had expertise in film. We decided to do this show because we can teach other people the things that were not taught to us. We didn't go to Full Sail. We didn't go to FSU. We didn't go to UC Berkeley. We didn't go to Juilliard's. We didn't go to MIT because we didn't get our application in time. But with that being said, guys, you will not find another show that commits themselves as we do. But with that being said, we never in our wildest dreams did we think we would get the guests that we would get. And to me, the one common denominator between the guests we've gotten, and you know this to be a fact, we've only went through one agent in 23 episodes. And we didn't have to sign any NDAs.
Well, we went through 2 agents, but one panned out.
Shh, it's okay. Listen, let that be my blue heaven. And with that being said, this week we were able to, I'll be honest with you, if you watch the previous interviews or episodes, you understand that we've done over 30 to 40 interviews, and all of them have went flawlessly. The one interview that went the absolute worst, that had nothing to do with us. It had Skynet problems, John Deere problems, T'Challa problems. It was so many problems that happened, but yet that one interview spawned us the director, writer, David Wayne. And what it taught us was this, kids, the truth is that you still have to be who you are in this industry. And so
Rudy Giuliani over here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Truth isn't truth.
Well, there's no Schumacher makers black stuff coming down my face.
So before we move on from the boat, I wanted to ask you, this is something that I remembered hearing. I tried to find it today and I wasn't able to, but I heard that there was like some kind of issue that happened with the boat, the Inferno. Is that what's called, the Inferno? I think it was. Yeah. Because it was a real live big boat for real. It was built for this, and yes. Was there something that happened with it, like not be like there was like issues getting it back to shore or something like that?
No, it never left the stage. That when you see it exterior, that's all CGI. That was another ship. That was it had nothing to do. Yeah, that giant ship never left the stage until they tore it apart.
The fact that one thing we didn't talk about was that that boat literally showed up its way in Pirates of the Caribbean. That boat, literally, the myth was that it showed off into the Bermuda Triangle and all this and all that, but that boat made it. And so, again, last but not least, when they talk about room for improvement, the only thing that I would improved for this film is that they would have never made a sequel.
Well, it hasn't been done yet, so maybe
That's what they
it
said
just
about coming
won't
to
happen.
America, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
and I agree.
you didn't
with
agree
you
with me
in
at first
hindsight.
because there's video of you saying that you don't.
I'll admit to
There's
that.
video saying Jackie Brown wasn't your favorite Tarantino film.
I'll admit to having high hopes for the sequel of Coming to America.
I wasn't let down.
Those hopes decreased when I saw it was PG-13.
But as a standalone movie,
If
it's still good. It's still good.
Coming to America didn't exist, sure, it'd be fine. But there's no need for it.
So they should call it Never Made It to America. Ironically, before we move forward, the one last thing I would have changed about this film, if it could be changed, is the narrative that is, well, I'll put it this way, that people don't understand. The name of the film is called The Goonies, yet there's not one black person or African American in this film, yet when you hear the term goon now, you look it up on Google.
Or
the
Urban Dictionary.
First 90% people you see will look something like, yeah.
The way you looked at me.
I mean, you knew what I was going to say. I mean, I didn't have to do it.
Yeah. And speaking of music and the score, if you haven't heard Immortal Technique's song, Goonies Never Die, go listen to it now. It is a fantastic sampling of the Goonies score with an equally amazing song. Side note with Mama Fratelli, how the fuck hard was she dropping Sloth on his head as a baby?
Well, here's the thing. I think Sloth was the oldest, and she fucked up with Sloth. So even in her,
Honey dropped you a few times.
throw baby from the train, throw mom from the train. Even in her best attempt, the best she can come up with 2 criminal sons.
Throw baby from my arms.
There you go. There you go.
Goodbye, baby.
That
Oh
was
man,
very
yeah.
good.
How to give your child a facial deformity? You've got to be pegging him on the ground as a child. Now, to prove the point about this movie standing the test of time, being better than anything that comes out recently, when The Goonies was re-released in cinemas in the UK, a new remastered 4K version of it for 1 week only. Even though it was a third of a century older than the other films in the box office at the time, it still outperformed several of the contemporary family films that were well into their theatrical run and had a head start on The Goonies. So we're not alone in loving the movie. Even kids that are like born in the 90s, 2000s, their parents are showing it to them, and because it stands the test of time, it just lives on, which goes to show it. We don't need a sequel. We don't need a remake. The original is still doing its job nearly 4 decades later.
I've done my job by you making that statement.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.